we're so happy to meet you and welcome you to Queer News Tonight.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's an exciting event, and before we get into the event, let's talk a little bit about the Pride Center. Excited to meet you for the first time. I've been into the Pride Center 347,000 times over the last 67 years. And it's really the heart and heartbeat of our LGBTQ community. Tell us a little bit about the Pride Center itself.
Well, the center serves primarily as a place where people can seek services, not all of which are provided by us. Many of the services that are offered at the Pride Center, individual groups and organizations, rent spaces from us to provide those services to the community, whether they're support groups for substance abuse or alcoholism. There's a lot of support groups around spirituality and natural science, medicines, and things of that sort. One of the things that we're proud of is that recently we built an apartment building with 48 units for disabled and low-income residents of Broward County. And within no time of our opening, we literally had hundreds of applicants, many of which, of course, didn't qualify, but our occupancy is 100%. And people seem to be very comfortable there. We're also a real gathering place for events and things that happen in the community. So I'm excited about our future and definitely the past we've had.
It's interesting for people that don't understand what a Pride Center is. Let's zero in on what the Pride Center says about its mission. And it's on record of saying that the mission of the Pride Center at Equality Park is to provide a welcoming, safe space, an inclusive home that celebrates, nurtures, and empowers the LGBTQ plus communities and our friends, which means allies and neighbors here in South Florida. That pretty much covers it. Different than a bar, different than a business, different than other a nonprofit healthcare organization or trans advocacy group. You're really a meeting place of safe space. Tell us a little bit why the Pride Center needs to provide this embracement of safe space for our LGBTQ community.
Well, one, all of our community is not centered in Wilton Manors. Our community really is all of South Florida. I mean, we have people who come to the Pride Center on a regular basis from Palm Beach County as well as Miami-Dade County. So we consider ourselves central to South Florida. People like to come because it's our space. We as LGBTQ population, people know that they're going to be welcome there from the moment they walk in the door to all the people on the staff that they meet. I mean, we have a large senior population that comes on Tuesdays for coffee and conversation. Recently, well over 150 men have showed up for that event. And it's a regular Tuesday morning event in our community. Other groups like lesbians groups come to the Pride Center. There's African American organizations that meet at the Pride Center. The Dolphin Democrats are one of our big population groups that come to the Pride Center for regular meetings. So there's a great cross section of groups and organizations and ethnic and racial groups that meet at the Pride Center because it's ours. We promote ourselves as for everybody, and we even have non-gay and lesbian and transgender people coming to the Pride Center to use our services as well.
It's wonderful. Diversity Honors and the opportunity to meet and talk to you gives us an opportunity to draw some attention to the Pride Center and its focus. One of the things that I didn't realize in preparing to sit down and talk to you is this year the Pride Center at Equality Park will be celebrating its 30th anniversary. My goodness, the time is flying. I don't know if you and I are that old or the Pride Center is that old, but somebody is that old, and I want to get to the bottom of who that is. What do you think about the anniversary coming up this year for Pride Center?
Well, it really speaks to a need being filled in our community. And that need has been there for a long time. That's why the 30 years. But I also think it speaks to an ongoing need that we'll need to fill in the future. You know, we're still looking at our campus as what might more we want to develop on our campus, because there are so many needs in our community. And so as we think about the future, we know that the Pride Center is going to be a central part of that future.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. That's just to provide some focus light on Pride Center. You're on Dixie Highway. Our main offices, we're a 501c3. Our main offices of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, are almost across the street from you.
Right.
Our art gallery, which we opened January 1st for LGBT as an art gallery, is almost directly across the street from you. And there's this emerging strip on Old Dixie Highway of LGBT embracement, the city stage, and other theater. It's kind of like a reemergence is taking place in 2023 of new, and your anniversary kind of helps put us be able to celebrate that. A lot of people who haven't been to Pride Center, when I have especially LGBT that comes from out of town, I have lots of friends in West Hollywood and lots of friends in Palm Springs, and I always bring them to the Pride Center to poke them in the eye and say, see, this is what we have. And you don't, and kind of make the joke.
Sure.
It's really gigantic. It sits on 5.5 acres. I read pre-pandemic, we haven't seen the real post-pandemic numbers yet, but pre-pandemic, 35,000 people a year came to the Pride Center campus. It's just jaw-dropping, the amount of impact that the Pride Center at Equality Park has on our community.
Well, a lot of it has to do with the diversity of activities that take place at the Pride Center. I mean, we have an auditorium that is also used as a synagogue on Friday nights, and on Sunday mornings as a non-denominational Christian group meets there. Lots of groups and organizations like to come and have their events on our campus. And because of that, you know, we get the numbers of people to come through. The other thing is, when people come to town, when they don't know anything about Broward County, they're most often referred to, go to the Pride Center. They can tell you how to get around and how to figure out where you might want to live, or what are some of the best bread and breakfasts to go to. And also, if you're in difficult situations, we can also make references to emergency services that exist in Broward.
Services that are needed. It's very impressive to me, and it's interesting also. Robert Boo is the executive director.
That's correct.
He's an icon in LGBTQ community in South Florida. But outside of Pride Center, we have churches, we have bars, we have halls, we have meeting rooms. Outside of an LGBTQ Pride Center, it's curious that this opportunity with you gives us an opportunity for a moment to discuss, why is this concept of a gathering point still important? We can do all kinds of things. We're not in the closet. We're not hidden like we once upon a time in rejection might have been. And all of the changes that have taken place from your seat as board chairman of Pride Center at Equality Park, why is the future so necessary for the mission of a community center like Equality Park?
Well, I think it's in the name, center. What is the center of the community? You know, and when you think about the city or the community at large, you're going to say, well, wherever the mayor lives and the city council is, and those kinds of organizations that drive the politics of the community. Well, when people think about coming into Broward County or South Florida, they think about, I need to know where I might find out about everything that's happening. And we serve that purpose in this county and in this region. We try to stay on top of all the activities that are happening. We're in partnership with all the businesses around us. We help support opportunities for people to get together and learn and better get educated about all the kinds of things that are both in our favor and against us, if you will. And when people know and understand that about the very diverse role that the Pride Center serves, it's going to be the place that people come. It's going to be the place that people gravitate to, and also the place that people in the general LGBTQ plus community will say, I don't have that answer, but I think you can get it at the Pride Center.
We always make the joke, the need for a Pride Center at Equality Park has lessened so much here in Florida because we've got a great governor supporting us. And oh wait, maybe I got that a little wrong.
Yeah, you may want to reframe that.
I better do a little more research on that question, Christopher. One of the things I'm also interested in, from your perspective, 3 years as board chair, 30-year celebration of the Equality Park. And the footprint there. I've learned about the history expansion over really 40 years of this real effort. Over the time that you've been board chair and the 30th anniversary that'll be celebrated this year, what are you most proud of in terms of what the Pride Center has accomplished?
Our survival. A lot of groups and organizations didn't survive COVID. A lot of groups and organizations have not been able to sustain relationships with funders in the community and also with groups and organizations in the community. We were operating and functioning all during COVID. No, people couldn't come in the center and gather, but they could call in, they could have conversations with people, they could be referred to groups and organizations that could help them. And as long as there are needs in our community, both for the well-heed and the not so well-heed, there will be the Pride Center.
It makes me think about one of my favorite quotes from Harvey Milk, and I thought about that when you were speaking there. Harvey Milk said the famous quote, and one of my favorites. He said, "The events that started the American Revolution were the meetings and the meeting locations of our homes, our pubs, and our street corners." And I love that quote when I think about the Pride Center, because isn't that exactly what you are? You're a home, you're a pub, you're a street corner. That's where everyone gathers.
That is correct. Yeah. And I mean, we have homeless people who come to the Pride Center, and while we don't provide services to them, we work very hard to connect them to services. We try to make sure that when they leave our doors, they know where they can go to get the support that they need, whether it's mental health treatments or housing for the night. Some of the homeless guys have dogs or animals, and then we try to help them facilitate that need for their pets as well. So I can't say enough about the diversity of opportunity to serve people in our community, such as the Pride Center does.
Yeah, it's awesome. And that leads us to Diversity Honors, actually. Seminole Hard Rock on April 1st, Saturday, 7 p.m. Is going to be the 7th anniversary of Diversity Honors, and it's a unique partnership between the Harvey Milk Foundation and the Pride Center at Equality Park. You can get tickets at diversityhonors.org. Christopher, you wrote something in talking about Diversity Honors to us when we were preparing for getting to talk to you, and you wrote something that I thought was very interesting. You said, quote, in writing this, "We want your Queer News Tonight audience to know that Diversity Honors recognizes members of our international, national, and local community leaders who are working to improve the quality of life for all LGBTQ plus citizens. The event is our public acknowledgement of their work and dedication and their ongoing commitment to our full integration into the life of our global community." Powerful words. Diversity honors commitment of the Harvey Milk Foundation uniting with Pride-Centered Equality Park, being held at a iconic supportive LGBT organization like the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. Help us connect those dots of what Diversity Honors is intentioned to do, as you outlined when you wrote that, about recognizing international, national, and local leaders.
Well, first of all, we don't live in a vacuum on the planet anymore. I mean, the internet has opened up things in so many special ways. But the moment we had air travel, the moment when we had ships that could cross seas, we started connecting with other gay or LGBTQ plus communities all around the world. And those relationships fed for all of us ideas about how to improve our communities, ideas about how to work with political leaders to ensure that our civil rights are not ignored, and that at all times that we're included in the conversation of citizenry and the right to live open and freely in societies. We cannot ignore the fact that we are a one world family. And while we talk about ourselves as LGBTQ plus community people, we're members of the larger community as well. And so it behooves us to establish relationships internationally, maintain those relationships, learn from those relationships, and share what knowledges and experiences we have here in the U.S. About how to coexist, not only with our allies, but sometimes our detractors.
Very well said. Christopher, we're all week long, we're going to be highlighting recipients at Diversity Honors, because it gives us an opportunity to focus on international, national, and local really heroes that are being represented by and recognized by the Harvey Milk Foundation and Pride-Centered Equality Park at Diversity Honors. So we're going to present interviews all week long of recipients. The first, we're going to be showing it in just a day, is the Harvey Milk Medal. And Queen Mother Nicole Murray Rodriguez is going to be presented. In 50 years, I said in the interview, I rarely get humbled in terms of the advocacy that an individual represents. But this is a person that has foundational roots in the HRC and the National Task Force and GLAAD and Chavez and Harvey Milk, and work directly with Harvey Milk, going to win the Harvey Milk Medal. The Queen Mother of the international court system, which long before RuPaul was the iconic drag organization in America and in the world. So Nicole Murray Rodriguez, that should be a moment. I specifically asked Nicole, are you going to be presenting in drag, and given what's going on in Florida, and absolutely, no question about it.
Wonderful.
Thoughts about the Harvey Milk Medal and the awards program at Diversity Honors?
One, it's absolutely important to recognize people of courage and commitment who, in spite of all the odds against them, stand up and speak out and advocate for themselves and their community. Oftentimes people are being advocates and they're not with a band of people behind them. Oftentimes they're solo, alone, speaking to leadership, and sometimes even working with smoke and mirrors, trying to help them understand the importance of not alienating us from the larger society, and including us and respecting us as human beings on this planet. So it's important that we recognize.
And you jump from Nicole, who represents advocacy, and justifies the Harvey Milk Medal, of course. But then the Harvey Milk Foundation's Global Business Leadership Award, interesting to me, is presented to Damian McKinney, and he's the CEO of Stoli Group. And tell us a little bit about why business support for LGBTQ community is so important.
We need jobs. People in our community need jobs, and we need businesses and organizations that hire people to hire our people also, and to treat them with dignity and respect in the workplace. And it's important that large organizations such as Stoli and other companies of its size and larger lead the brigade on how to include and to make diversity a reality in their organizations, and not some kind of fluke or some kind of incidental thing that's going to go away. Diversity is something that we are going to be, I pray, living with for the rest of mankind in a way that we have never done in our past.
Yeah, and then an interesting award that must be very personal to you, the Pride Center at Equality Parks Alan Schubert Award. And if you're not aware, Alan Schubert was among the very foundation pillars of the organization of Pride Center, and giving to somebody who was also there in the first days of the formation of what ultimately would become the Pride Center, and that is Carol Moran. And I love it because she's a business owner on Wilton Drive with Apartment 9F as a restaurant owner. Advocacy, she was in that Oakland Park, Oakland Drive, Oakland Park Boulevard, small tiny office right at the very formation, and was right there at the beginning. And she represents our women's community. The dedication of the Schubert Award and its importance. Tell us a little about that.
Pioneers. Someone's got to be a first. Someone's got to pave the way and be the example for what change can look like and what is needed to make change happen. And she has been that. And her fortitude over the years, her commitment over the years, and her example over the years is something that has to be heralded and celebrated, so that young people and others who come behind her understand, one, how she got there, two, what kept her there, and three, we have an obligation to show her the respect and love for the commitment that she showed us.
Yeah, I love that. And then the Diversity Honors Award and multiple to Jacqueline Lorble and Sabrina Alfonso from the South Florida Symphony Orchestra. Iconic, their representation on Wilton Drive. Latrice Royale from RuPaul's Drag Race. Senator Chevron Jones, a dramatic fight last year when Don't Say Gay started. And then an organization being recognized, which I just love. The Bears of South Florida are being recognized at Diversity Honors. The Diversity Honors Awards in these categories, thoughts about these kind of awards?
Well, it's just that, diverse. Our community is diverse. These awards are diverse to reflect the various aspects of organization and individual contributions that are made to make us the community that we have become. And we hope that by honoring these folks and honoring these organizations, that those who come behind them, young people especially, will understand that when you give of yourself, such as these folks have and these organizations have, you really will be honored at some point in time. A lot of our society is about right now, right now, right now. But the truth is, some gratification is going to be delayed. And hopefully, as my grandmother would say, hopefully you get your flowers before you die.
Oh, yeah.
And so this would be a time for us to do that, to recognize these groups and organizations. And I love the fact that we have not only cultural aspects in the awarding, but we also have the political, and then we have the general population.
Yeah, lovely. I'm looking forward to it. I've been to Diversity Honors many times. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to do reporting and going to be present. Mostly I'm going because I know it's going to be wonderful and I want to have a good time. You know, another favorite Harvey Milk quote I think of when I think about what Pride Center at Equality Park and the Harvey Milk Foundation is doing is another one of my favorite Harvey Milk quotes. And he said, I know you can't live on hope alone, but without hope, life is not worth living. So you and you and you got to give them hope. You've got to give them hope. Don't you think that's exactly what y'all are doing at Diversity Honors?
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think that when we talk about these individuals and they talk about themselves, that people understand that while these look like isolated activities and isolated efforts, there are many people all around the world and even within our own country and our own communities who are making strides to make things better. Everybody is not always going to be heralded in front of an audience such as what we're going to have on the 1st at Seminole, but there will be people who will recognize what they do. And I hope that when those opportunities come, that more than few people are present to hear.
Yeah. If you want to have some hope in the time that we're living, let's face it, we're facing attacks unlike probably anything that we've seen, at least in this century since it started in 2000. You want to be at Diversity Honors, especially this year. And it's going to be at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino on Saturday, April 1st, 7 p.m. You can get your tickets now at diversityhonors.org, and you're going to see a spectacular program. You're going to hear from many interesting honorees and recipients, and you're going to get to rub elbows with so many interesting people in our LGBTQ plus community and our allies. Christopher H. Bates, board chair of Pride Center at Equality Park. It's been a pleasure meeting you and talking to you.
Thank you.
And we look forward to Diversity Honors.
Okay. I look forward to seeing you there.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.